crafters, I had to check it was recording there. Hi crafters, it's Chloe from Chloe's Creative Cards. So today we are going to be making a fabulous project using the new Christmas Builder Bouquet collection, and this one is one of Glynis's gorgeous cards. So this is what we are going to be making. It is going to be an easel card, and this is combining the old with the new, because, well, not old, they're both new, but you know what I mean, previous release. We're going to use the gilded rectangles along with the new Christmas Builder Bouquet. So we will dive on in and get started with this project. As always, all of the materials that I'm using have been listed in the description below, so please do have a little look in there. And all of the materials are listed, the links to the website and any of the products that I'm using, you can shop on our website at www.chloescreativecards.co.uk. Okay, let's get that overhead camera in and make a start. So we're going to start off with an 8x8 card blank. And we're also going to be using our Gilded Squares dies. So we're going to use the largest one first. And we're going to die cut out our base card, and we're going to make it into an easel card, which is something a bit different. So we're going to take our die, we're going to overhang it on the edge of the card, and then we're going to take our low tack tape, tape this down. Okay, we're going to open that out, and then we're going to take our die cutting plates. So I'm going to put my metal shim into my plate sandwich because my Gemini seems to have lost a little bit of pressure. So we're going to use the base plate, the metal shim, the plastic shim. We're going to put our card with our die and then our cutting plate on the top, and we'll send that through. So that is just going through our die cutting machine there now. Okay, and we'll grab that at the other side. We will then open this out, give this a little shimmy. There we go. Bit done, yeah, just the low tack tape, just holding that. There we go. So we'll take that low tack tape away, lift that off, and we've got our lovely gilded square die cut shaped card. Okay. So what we're then going to do is take this, take the front and fold it in half like that. Okay. Now if you've got a bone folder, you can use that just to sharpen your crease up. Just going to use my little tongs there to do that. But you can see how that has then created a lovely card base. So what I've done, I've got my mats and layers pre-prepared on this one because they need a little bit of time to dry. So I've then die cut out the same size in white card, and I've gone in using my PVA glue with the fine tip applicator, and see this little channel that you get here? You can go in with your glue and your fine tip and just fill that little channel with glue, and then we've covered it with the Diamante Sparkle glitter. So we've got a white layer, we've got a red mirror card layer, which is going to go on the top, and then I've used one of the lovely patterned papers from the printed paper pad, which is going to go on the top of there. So this one's going to be the inside for my kind of easel stopper. So I'm going to just trim a little bit just off the top there. So I'm going to use my guillotine. Trim, I think about that should do it. So if we trim that off the top, yeah, that's all good. So then we'll get that stuck together. So what we've done is we'll take a little bit of our collal, all purpose, a little bit of glue on there. That is going to go onto here. Like that. Okay, and then we're going to take our red mirror card, a little bit of glue onto the back of there. Like that. That is then going to get stuck onto here. Like so. And then we're going to take this one here, that is going to get stuck onto there. And stick that down flat. So all of these layers on the bottom of the card are all stuck down nice and flat. So we're going to do the easel part now. So we've done exactly the same again, but this time we've used some foam pads. So we've got our white layer, we've got our red mirror card, and then we've got our patterned layer. And these ones are all stuck on foam pads. So there we go, that is that one there. Okay, so we'll pop that onto here, like so. And then we've got our lovely patterned one. And we're going to stick that onto there, like that. And then we're going to grab our base card back in. We're going to add a little bit of glue just onto here. There we go. So that has then created kind of our easel card. So we're going to fold that down. So what I think coordinates really nicely with these rectangle dies is our basic oval dies, because you can use them to pop in the middle. So that's what we're going to do. So again, I've got a bit of a red mirror card that we've just die cut out with the basic oval. Okay, and then we've got a piece of white card that we've die cut out and then just glittered around the edge with that diamanty sparkle glitter. And we're going to stick that one on flat. Like that. There we go. Okay, so we'll pop that to one side. Now obviously for our easel we do need a little easel stopper. So I've got some plain white card here. I can grab hold of it. And I've got the Merry Christmas stamp, which comes from the Bouquet Builder Christmas flowers. So we're going to ink up that Merry Christmas. Lots of light tapping all over. We're going to use our anti-static bag. We're going to position that down and press. And then we'll lift that off. We are then going to take a little bit of scrap paper and a bit of polished gold super fine embossing powder. Tap off any excess. Give that a little dust over. A little bit more embossing. Okay, and then we're going to heat this up. There we go, and we will take our guillotine again. Let me grab that in. And just trim this Merry Christmas down. There we go. This is always the harder part, just getting your little mats and layers right. So just work round, trim that down to size, and then we've got a little bit of that leftover red mirror card that we're just going to stick this onto. So a little bit of glue. Just on the back, like that. And then we'll just stick that onto there. Take our little trimmer. trim that down. Okay, so this is going to make our little stopper for our easel card. So we'll take some foam pads because you want it to be dimensional. So we'll just take a few foam pads just onto the back like that. Okay. And then we'll peel the backs off of those. And then you can decide where you want your easel to kind of sit, how far up you want it. So I'm going to aim for this kind of red line here. Yeah, that's quite good. Okay, so that then creates our lovely easel card. So we'll start to build our bouquet and build our embellishments now. So we'll just move that out of the way and move this out of the way. So I've got a piece of white card here. We're going to start off by giving that a good dust over with a little anti-static bag, like that. And then we'll take our bouquet builder stamp and the die. So we're going to go in with our stamp. We'll ink this up. So lots of light tapping all over the image, like that. Make sure we've got plenty of ink on there. And then we're going to position that stamp down and press. So we want firm, even pressure all over the image. And then we can lift that off. So you might be able to see a very faint outline there. We'll grab in a piece of scrap and we're going to use our Hollywood Hills Wow powder on this one. There we go. And then we'll just heat this up. So we're going to use our heat tool. There we go. And then we'll take our die. We're going to pop that over the top like that. Shuffle that into place. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to take our die cutting plates and we're going to run that through our Gemini machine. So pop that all together, send that through. Didn't need the metal shimming when I cut this, but I've just picked the sandwiches up so it's in there. There we go. We'll lift that out, give that a little wiggle, and then we've got our beautifully die cut bouquet. So what we're then going to do is we're going to take some glitter. So I'm going to use Grasshopper and I'm going to use Santa Suit. Okay, so I'm going to start off with Santa Suit because that's the darkest of the two colours. And I'm going to take my PVA glue. Okay, and we're going to go in and just add the red onto the berries on this bouquet. There we go. And then we're going to take our scrap paper again and we're going to sprinkle this over the top. I'm going to flip that over. There we go. Okay, and then we'll put that back away. This can go to one side. And then next up we're going to take our PVA glue again. And I'm going to go in and just add a little bit of glue onto these little leaves here. Okay. So we're going to add the glue onto there. Okay, so we'll just work round and we'll just add a little bit of glue onto these leaves like this. Okay. And then we'll take that grasshopper glitter and sprinkle that all over the top. So I've used a slightly different embossing powder, the one Glynis has used on the finished one, but you can see how beautiful that is then looking. So we're going to put that to one side. Okay, and we're going to grab in the one that's dry. So I've got my bouquet here that is all nice and dry. So we're going to just peel the backs off of these little foam pads. Come on, there we go. And then we'll stick this down in the middle of that oval, like that. Okay, you can see how gorgeous that is then looking. So what we're going to do now is start to create the flowers. So to make the flowers, you get two sizes of this little kind of 3-petal poinsettia in the Stamp and Die set, the flower one. So we're going to tape those down. We're going to grab in our plates and we're going to send those through. So to make this card, you are going to need 6 of the smaller one and 3 of the larger one. I'm just going to die cut and glitter one to show you, just because it needs to have a little bit of time to dry. So we're going to use some Dulce glitter now, which is a nice fine holographic gold. So if we grab these out, you'll see that we've got the flowers nicely die cut. Now you do get stamps in the set if you want to use the stamps with these, or what Glynis has done, which is really nice, is she's kind of just freestyled it. She's taken her glue and just drawn lines like that in the middle of the flower. Okay, so you can then take your scrap paper, cover that with your Dulce de Leche. You can see how that then adds the detailing onto the petals of the flowers. So she's done that on all of them, and then I've got some that are dry over here. Like I say, we did have to pre-prep this little part just because of the drying times and things like that. So we've then got our 6 smaller ones and our 3 larger ones. So to shape the flowers, you're going to go in and just pinch the petals like this. Now I do actually think that Glynis has maybe used 4 or 5 on her flowers, but we are just going to use 3 to layer them up. So you're going to take these, pinch round, and then we're going to just take them, pull the little petals up, stick it down. So you can kind of add as many or as few layers as you like to these. So again, take that little twist, this one, stick that down, little twist, and then we're going to take this larger one, we're going to pinch the petals down the middle, A little bit of glue. Stick that one down. There we go. You can see how the flowers then make up really lovely. So we're going to grab in our base card and we're going to start and stick these on now. So I'm going to use a little bit of just PVA glue, not PVA, sorry, pin flare glue to stick these on. Now we do need some little sparklers to go in the middle of these, but I have a feeling I may have run out in the craft room, so I'll just show you the finished one once we're done. So then we'll stick that one there and stick that one there. Okay, and then what we've done, and I've done this ahead of time again just because we needed it to be dry, is within the stamp and die set you get loads of foliage with the bouquet. So we've die cut those out, stamped and die cut them out. So you can then add a couple of bits of extra foliage in behind your flowers. So again, you can just use a little bit of pin flare glue to do this. That one there. And we're going to tuck another one under here. Like that. Okay, and then we're going to take these little berries that we've got die cut. And again, these have just been stamped and embossed in that Hollywood Hills and then glittered in red. Okay. Bit there. And then a little one, maybe stuck that one in there. And then we've got these lovely kind of little fronds, which we can pop in as well. You can just dot a few of these about in the background. And of course, some holly leaves too. So with the holly leaves, I like to crease them down the centre. Tuck one in there, maybe. And then we can take this and tuck one up there. Like that. So that's looking good. And then for our little Merry Christmas at the bottom, what Glynis has done is she's used some of the foliage and some of the little holly leaves. Okay. And she's used the little Christmas rose stamp and die. So we've die cut those from some white and then stamped the centres with twinkling lights. So then we can tuck our little bit of foliage in at the bottom here. So you can kind of make like a little arrangement of flowers. So we can put that there. We can give these a little curl up between our finger and thumb. Like that. And then a little bit of glue. So we'll put the biggest one in the middle. And then we'll pop a couple of smaller ones either side. I'm just going to pull that down just a little bit, just so you can still read that Merry Christmas. Okay, so we'll just work around with this. A little bit of glue on the back of there. A little bit of glue over here. There we go. And then we can take our little holly leaves. We can tuck these in. Like that. So you can create your own little arrangement at the bottom. And then I would add some little jewels into the middle. So I think it's Build a Bouquet. In that box, if I just grab that one, you've got some goldy coloured jewels. So because I haven't got the sparklers, I'll pop these in the middle of the flowers as well, so you can just see the difference. So then you can add a little jewel into the centre of each of the Christmas roses at the bottom there. So I'll just grab some tweezers. And then we're going to add some bigger ones into the middle of these flowers. So if we open that up, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Bit of glue, and then just stick the jewels in the middle. Okay, and then we're going to create our little bow to go on the bottom. So to do that, we are going to use our bow die. So we've got a piece of Jupiter pearl paper that I've covered with my double-sided adhesive sheet. I'm going to leave that metal plate in for this one. So we're going to layer that sandwich up and send that through. There we go. Okay, we'll lift that out. I'm going to just pop my pin in my glue so that that doesn't dry out while we're doing this. So we're then going to open this out, and we've got our bow. So we've got the two little ribbon tails, we've got our main bow, and then we've got this central bit that we don't really need for this project. So what we're then going to do is get rid of those plates. We want a bit of scrap paper. And we're going to peel the backs off of these. So I'm going to use my little pokey tool. We're going to take the back off. So off this one. And off the next one. The next one. Go, and then we'll take a little bit of Santa suit glitter, sprinkle that all the way over the top. We love this bow die as well, it's so lovely. Okay, sprinkle that all the way over the top. I know it looks weird, but trust me, it comes together. Then a bit more Santa suit on there. Okay, and then we'll take these little ribbon tails, take the backs off of those. Pop that into our glitter. Same with this one. Into the glitter. There we go. That's going to go back into the jar. It's going to go in there. Okay. And then we'll take our glue gun. And we're going to start off by just curling these ribbons in just a little way. And then we'll take our glue gun, a little bit of glue just in the middle. And then we'll stick this one onto there. Like that. This one onto there. We'll just hold that for a sec. Okay. Then we're going to do the same with this one, a little bit of glue just onto there. Okay, and then we're going to take, so all the trails of glue, there we go, right, then we're going to take this one, a little bit of glue on the back, we're going to stick the two together, then creates your little double bow, like that, and then we've got our little ribbony tails that we're going to pop on the bottom. So a little bit of glue just on the top of there, cross those over like that, and then the same little bit of glue onto there, stick that down onto here like that. So that then creates that lovely three-dimensional bow. So then we'll grab our finished card back in, a little bit of glue on the back again, and what I would always recommend is take a big makeup brush and give your card a good dust over when it's all dry. Then that will get rid of any excess glue and any excess glitter. I'll add one of these little jewels into the middle. There we go. So that would then be your finished project. So that is inspired by one of Glynis's beautiful makes with the Christmas Build a Bouquet collection. So I'll pop the other camera in so you can have a nice closer look at that one. So that's the one that we've just made. And this is the one that Glynis made earlier. So that's using the Christmas Build a Bouquet collection. So I really hope you've enjoyed watching me recreate that project, and I hope it's one that you're going to recreate yourself at home. If you haven't done so already, please do hit subscribe on that YouTube channel button, because we have got lots of new videos and tutorials coming your way very soon. And of course, we've got loads of videos on the channel already, so there's lots to inspire you there. All of the materials that I've used are listed in the description below and are available to shop on our website, which is www.chloescreativecards.co.uk. Thank you all for joining me today, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye!